2 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer in the United States. The earlier the cancer is detected, the greater the chances for survival. Today is National Mammography Day, and here's some helpful information for you to know. All women aged 40 to 44 have the option to begin annual breast cancer screenings. Women aged 45 to 55 have access to yearly mammograms, and women over 55 should get screened every 2 years. 69% of women over 40 have had a mammogram within the past 2 years. But more than 280,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year alone, and there are nearly 4 million breast cancer survivors in the United States. And this morning we are joined by two of them who have early detection to thank for their survival. Marissa Thomas, founder of the nonprofit group For the Breast of Us, and Michelle Benjamin, a care coordinator at Memorial Sloan Kettering. Good morning, ladies. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good morning.
Well, Marissa, let's start with you. You were diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer at 35 years old. So at what point did you undergo your first mammography?
I went my first mammography right after I found my lump, so right when I was 35, at the age of 35. Normally women aren't, unless they are under the age of 40, they don't usually have a mammogram or an MRI that is completed unless you have maybe a family history or if you find a lump like myself.
Did you have family history, or were you considered high risk?
My aunt on my mom's side had breast cancer, but she had breast cancer when, you know, it's normally typical what they think that women should have breast cancer. She was in her 60s at the time.
Wow.
And I wasn't necessarily high risk. I had a genetic mutation, but this genetic mutation didn't predispose me to breast cancer.
Wow. Okay. And Michelle, you were diagnosed at 36 years old with triple negative breast cancer, which impacts more women of color, right? Now, can you share your story about what led you to get your first mammogram?
So unfortunately, I woke up one morning with blood discharge from my nipple, and working in healthcare, I knew that wasn't normal. So I went and got evaluated, and that's when I found that I was triple negative breast cancer. And I didn't have any family history of breast cancer, so I wasn't considered high risk. But you know, the fact that I knew that something wasn't right, I went and took action and got tested, got my first mammogram and ultrasound, and started treatment.
Yeah, and now you're the patient coordinator at Memorial Sloan Kettering, right? You coach women on how to prepare for a mammogram. So what advice do you give them?
Well, I'm a strong believer that you are your number one advocate. I encourage women and men to also speak up for yourself. But one key thing that got me through was music. You know, I play music at every appointment. I'm a big fan of Anita Baker. So I play Anita Baker at every appointment, and it calms my nerves because it's a scary situation.
Yeah.
Going through your first mammogram, and, you know, even going through any type of health screen is very scary.
Yeah, music soothes the soul, right?
It does.
Marissa, 1 in 8 women, though, in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. And the earlier the cancer is detected, as we said earlier, the higher the survival rate. So based on your experience, how early would you then recommend women, especially women of color, to get their first mammogram?
Well, I mean, there's many different factors. I would definitely say that if you have a family history, which it's important that we all know about our family history, that you get a mammogram, you know, I would say 30 or 35. And if you are somebody like myself who was diagnosed at the age of 35 and you have a sister or really close relatives, I would have them get mammograms as soon as you know and you're diagnosed. I think waiting until you're about 40 or 45 could be too late, especially for women of color, as we're being diagnosed younger and younger with more aggressive forms of breast cancer.
Well, Michelle, you say really the key is knowing your own body, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you're getting ready to undergo treatment again because you had a reoccurrence, despite undergoing a double mastectomy. So how did you discover that something was wrong again?
So I was battling an upper respiratory infection, and I went to the doctor, and I had an x-ray and CAT scan, and that's how it was found. But it's important, the key factor is knowing your body. When you know something is not right, don't be scared to get it checked out. You know, oftentimes we allow fear to stop us, but you know, sometimes you have to use that fear, encourage yourself to advocate and put yourself out there and ask those hard questions, because you might be able to stop something and catch it early.
Yeah, it's so important to do self-exams, etc., right? And Marissa, your organization For the Breast of Us, it urges women, especially women of color, to really educate themselves, advocate for themselves, as you said, about your health. So how do you and your group go about doing that to encourage other people to make sure they get themselves checked out?
Well, we definitely do it online and through our social media, sharing our experiences. We have stories on our website where women are sharing their experiences of them being diagnosed with breast cancer and what that's been like. And then just empowering women and letting them know and giving them the tools on advocating for themselves, asking for second opinions, referring them to different doctors that we may have seen that we have a good relationship with, doctors that actually listen to us, especially women of color. We know there's a history that most medical professionals don't listen to us when we say that we have pain, and that's another reason why we're diagnosed later.
Wow.
At a later stage. And so just making sure that we give them those tools and resources so that way they're equipped whenever they are diagnosed with a life-threatening disease like breast cancer.
Well, it's really great work that both of you do. Marissa Thomas and Michelle Benjamin, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
And a reminder, if you need to get screened, there will be free mobile mammogram screenings this weekend in the Bronx at Lou Gehrig Plaza and East 161st Street. Thanks again, ladies. Stay safe. Be healthy.